Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alexis Brielle for those who don't know, and this is my first ever YouTube video. Starting out with my brows, I like to first create a line at the base of my brow just so I can get that nice shape going. And from there, I like to work my pencil in short little jagged motions to create that nice natural hair-like effect. From there, I like to concentrate at the tail end of my brow because that's where I'm most sparse. I'm basically bald at the end of my brow, so it's really important that I have nice definition on there. When I'm finally okay with that, I like to go toward the center and the front end of my brow and do vertical motions because it'll give me the most fluffy, natural appearance when my brow hairs are going straight up and giving me that fuller brow that I'm looking for. If any of you want a more in-depth brow tutorial, let me know in the comment section. I can make that for a later video. Here we are. I like to use a nice flat square brush. This one is a MAC brush. You don't necessarily have to do that, but anything like that will do. I picked out my two concealer colors. I'm in the shade NC42 and NC40, and I like to just get that as close as possible to the edge of my brows, and then I just use a nice fluffy blending brush and I make sure that I blend that out seamless in the center of the brow, all the way extended past the tail of my brow, and I keep doing that until it's as smooth as possible. This is my all-time favorite palette. I love this palette, the Desi X Katy Francation palette. I like to start out with the lightest color in the palette and place that right in my crease. I like to start off with something that's this light where it's fairly not noticeable, but it starts to give me that defined shape that I'm looking for. Then I'll go in with the second darkest color in the palette. Any rustic medium brown shade will do, and go right over top of that. And that's where you're going to start to really see that definition pop out. I really concentrate on the outer V of my eye first, just because it gives me a more open lid space concept where my eyes will appear bigger later. I do have a lot of real estate on my eyelids, but for those of you who don't, if you focus more on the outside of your eyes with your shadow, it'll widen up your eyes. And I keep blending, really kind of taking that all the way to the tail end of my brows and letting it fade in what's left on the brush, taking that into the inner corner of my lid. Okay, you see what we're working with here? We're starting to get a little bit cute or whatever, just a little bit. I like to switch to a medium deep brown and focus that more towards my lash line, not necessarily my crease, and really carve out that shape. I like my eyeshadow more of a wing shape because it gives my eyes more of that sensual, saucy look. And then we're going to switch over to the lid and using the ABH Jackie Aina collab. The first shade in that palette, I believe it's called Soleil. It's just a shimmer shade, nice champagne golden color, and I spray every single foiled or shimmer shade with Fix Plus. Always, never change that. It just gives you a nice, more metallic-y finish, and there's a lot less fallout when it comes to shimmer shades. I like to start really just patting it into my inner tear duct, and as you look down into your mirror, that's a trick that I learned a long time ago. When you look down, you can see the shape of your eyeball where it naturally sits. So that's how you know how far you want to put your shimmer shadows. And I just do that until I get the desired shape of the eyeshadow that I want. I don't necessarily take it all the way over to meet the brown. I leave a little bit of space in between the dark brown and the gold, and you'll see how that looks in a second. Both eyes completed. You can see how that empty space kind of creates that nice transition from gold to medium brown to that dark. And I like to just set my face right before we move into our face. I like to prime my face with the MAC Natural Radiance. It's basically for all skin types, but it's just really a nice base primer. I kind of use that one. If not, no, I pretty much just stick with that one. Then I like to go in and take the Clinique oil controlling lotion. Even though I have dry skin, it keeps my cheeks from being a little too shiny, which they can get sometimes, and I just like to smooth that in my face right behind my natural radiance. For foundation, I'm using the NARS Radiant foundation. I don't think that's the full title of the name, but I know it's NARS and I know it's the Radiant one. And I don't remember which shade it is because I got a sample at Sephora, so don't ask me what that is. Anyway, I like to first apply my foundation with a brush, and I take a really long time blending out my foundation. I learned that tip from Makeup by Ariel, who's Kylie Jenner's makeup artist, and he uses a brush and a beauty blender, which I'm also going to do. So yes, I still am blending out just my foundation, but the results afterwards is mind-blowing because it looks like skin. It looks like your airbrush, so get to blending, sis. From here, I'm going to go back into my MAC Pro Concealing Palette, and I'm going to use those same two shades that I used under my brow earlier in the video, NC40 and NC42, and I like to take that right from my tear duct on the side of the bridge of my nose on both sides, and I only use that right under my eye because right after this I'm going to go in with a lighter shade. I believe it's NW20 that I go in with, and I'm going to lay that right on top of the concealer that I have on now. And it's just going to add a really nice brightening effect to my face where it's not too white or stark, but it still gives me that nice natural glowing from within highlight. And I put that on my cheeks as well as my forehead, a little bit on my chin, and I believe the bridge of my nose. Here I am being interrupted by Jade talking about the mirror that I'm using. I should probably invest in a mirror while I'm filming, but those are chores to do for another day. So yeah, as I look like baby Simba, I just take a nice fluffy brush. I used to use a smaller brush, but I love this one by MAC. I was a MAC girl, so most of my products are from MAC, just to let you guys know. I like to blend out all of my concealers with this. It gives you the most airbrush flawless finish. I swear by this brush in particular, especially for your face. You can see how that just blends out like butter. Like your skin just looks like smoke. It's amazing. Really just focusing on the outside of my face, not too much in the inside just yet, but really making sure that edge is really seamless. Going in with the darker Pro Concealing Palette from MAC. Yes, we are still using MAC. I'm going to do the perimeter of my face, and I believe I'm using the shades NW50 and I don't know what the next shade is that I'm using, but it's a little bit darker than NW50. And I like to take that across my forehead, on my cheekbones, under my jawline, and on my chin. I also have been starting to put a little bit under my lip just to give me an extra pout. And I'm going to take that same brush, that Holy Grail brush, and get to blending. Setting that face, I used to be like the hardest skeptic saying no powders, no powders, no powders because I have dry skin, but I have now fell in love with the Sephora Micro Smooth powder mixed with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, and that's what I'm using to set the center of my face. So everywhere where I put that light concealer, I set it with that, and then I go in with the Deep Dark Mineralized Skin Finish by MAC, and I use a huge fluffy brush, and I just go in and I bronze up my skin. Not necessarily contouring, but giving myself a nice warm halo. That sun-kissed vibe is it. It is it, sis, in the winter, in the fall, in the spring, in the summer, during the day, during the night, all year round. I'm just trying to be bronze, okay? I'm gonna go back in with the Jackie Aina palette and finish off my lower lid. I go in with, I believe it's Edges, which is that rustic red color, and we're gonna snatch that eye. And you can see how that cat eye look really is accentuated when you hit that lower lash line with shadow. So I go in with Edges, and then I believe it's Current or Credit. Yeah, Credit, which is their dark brown shade, and I go right underneath of Edges and hit it with some Credit. Right, period. We looking good, okay? We ready to, you know, go to the living room because we still stuck on quarantine, but you know, once we're let outside again, this will be your first look, right? This will be the first look that you recreate. So I'm just perfecting this under eye to my liking, making it as dark as I want. And obviously your under eye is optional. I always do makeup under my eye just because it hides your creases that are inevitable underneath your eyes. You're gonna have creases, sorry. Going in with my Loud and Clear MAC blush. I love this because it's soft. I'm not really a blush girl, but this gives me color without giving me color, if you know what I mean. So I like to just take a really light, soft, airy brush and focus that right on the apple of my cheek and into my under eye. I also learned that from Makeup by Ariel. Putting it more towards the center of the face, it gives you that more baby doll look, that youthful, I'm snatched, but you know, I'm still young glow. That's all we're looking for. That's all we're looking for. I like to take it across the bridge of my nose as well. And moving on to my favorite part, highlight. Yes, I cannot live without highlight. I take it on the bridge of my nose, on my cheekbones, as well as on the top of my lip. Even though sometimes it looks like boogers, but it's okay. I'll have glittery boogers. Moving on to our last section, which is our lips. I usually do not do my lips. I usually just put on a basic clear gloss because I'm lazy, and after an hour of doing my face, I just don't be feeling like it. But since it's my first video, we gonna do just a little bit more. I'm gonna just throw a little pizzazz on my lips. So I'm first lining my lips with MAC Cork lip liner, which is like every black girl, every chocolate caramel glazed donut in between their fave shade of all time, because it's the perfect nude for anybody with brown skin. But because we're going to do a little bit more, I'm going to line it with both chestnut and cork. So on top of the chestnut, I laid down cork, and then I just chose a really fleshy nude lipstick and just patted that in the center. Right now, I'm topping it off with the Fenty Gloss Bomb. I believe it's the diamond shade, the white shimmery one. And I'm just placing that right in the center of my lip just to give it that really nice wet look. I love lip gloss. You'll never catch me in lip gloss. And finally, we're just going to set our face. Drown ourselves in that Fix Plus again. And we can see how we have this nice, sultry, snatched, full glam for the living room for quarantine. Yes! I want to see everybody's recreation. I just want to say thank you for watching my first YouTube video ever. Like and subscribe.